for the Leafs, for me, the number one thing has got to be, first off, it's got to be the right side D. And I don't know how you spend the money that they have, but I also think that there is a glaring weakness between the ears with this team. There just seems to be something where they, and I know this happens with young teams, but there's like a lack of confidence. Does that make sense? Did you see that?
No, I mean, you got to get over the hump. Here's what I think about the Leafs. I think, obviously any upgrades they can make defensively, if they can get some nastiness back there and some big boys, it's going to help. I agree with you. Jake Muzzin is a key piece on that blue line in terms of the way he plays and the way he's committed to playing. The biggest takeaway for me, and I don't want anybody to take this as a slight to Matthews, because I thought Matthews stepped up and played great in the playoffs. But I think moving forward, they need to get into a room with Matthews, Nylander, Marner, if those guys are all staying, and they need to have a different mindset. They need a mindset where, like, this is their team. The team belongs to those three guys and Morgan Riley. And those guys have to set the example and the bar off the ice in terms of their commitment. And I'm not saying they don't work hard in practice and they don't work out. It's not about that. It's about being the top guys, though, in that department. It's about setting the bar for everybody else. And when I watched the playoffs and I saw Matthews take off and play the way he did, I was certainly impressed. Marner, obviously, his production was underwhelming, but I don't think it was a question of him, underselling his effort. But I watched Tavares, and Tavares, his leadership, though muted in the room, is on the ice. He plays the way you want your players to play. He leads the exact right way for that team. But it's not, as much as he's the captain, like, it's not his team. That team, that team belongs to those four young guys. And those four young guys have to be the first guys on the ice and the last guys off, and the first guys in the gym and the last guys out, and the guys rallying the troops behind the scenes and guiding them through the tough moments and getting them to commit to playing more of a team game and a defensive game. And if they're not going to be those guys, this is never going to work. So I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. It's time for that hard conversation, and to make them realize, you think you're working hard, but there's a whole other level to it, and you should know watching John Tavares.
Yeah. The Leafs said the Leafs said Tavares was going to be captain no matter what before the Matthews story came out. Are they dirty liars?
No, I mean, I don't think so. It's hard to sign John Tavares to the deal they signed him to, and knowing what he brings and what his pedigree is. And suggest that anybody else should be captain. I don't think they got that decision wrong, especially with just the way he leads on the ice. And I don't know that Matthews necessarily would be the best candidate to be captain, to be honest with you. Yeah. But I would love to see him emerge as that type of guy now. That how old is he? He's 23?
I think so.
22?
I think he might have.
This was season 4. So, yeah, it's 22.
Like, how old are you guys? I'm 37. I know that, like, from
29.
20 to 23. Yeah, from 20 to 23.
He's 32, and so am I.
Matthews turns 23 in a week.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So I was mature as a 20-year-old, and then if you had asked me at 23 what I thought of my 20-year-old self, I would say, whoa, like, I had a lot of growing up to do. It's just the normal, natural progression, especially for players that jump into the league at 18 years old. They're immediately superstars, paid millions of dollars. It takes a long time to mature and recognize just how much goes into becoming a champion at this level. And it's in your DNA or it's not, but there's some things that you can obviously improve on in terms of your attitude and how you carry yourself. And I'm not saying this to denigrate any one of those four guys. I think they're all solid guys, and my interactions with them, especially with Riley, I came away very impressed. But at a certain point, like, that's I believe, like, you need to get them in a room all together and say, guys, like, this is your team and you need to run it in every way. And the day that this team takes a leap forward is the day that it's not the coach coming in and delivering the message that resonates. It's those guys who say, like, we're going to do it this way. And that's what you want. That's what every organization wants. They want their players to take over the room. Even the most oppressive coaches, the John Tortorella types, they want the players to take over the room.
It seems like that's what Tampa's done recently.
Yeah, that's what's happened. They have a great coach too, but yeah, I mean, they're those guys. You look at the way they came together, prior to the Phase 3 training camp, and I know it led to some COVID situations, but
yeah.
There is a will there that is not just let's show up and play and we're good enough to win. It's they learned they had the hard knocks just like Toronto has, but certain guys emerged as key role players and took over the team. A guy like Braden Point, anybody would have looked at him coming into this season and said, okay, he's their second line center. He's probably the best second line center in the league.
Yep.
Except he's their first line center now because he just said, I'm going to be the best player on this team. That's what you need. That's what you need from these guys. And like a guy like Marner, I mean, he can take over any game he plays. There's no reason he can't be that guy who sets the example for everybody else and starts doing all the other things that come with assuming that leadership that you're getting paid for. And I think those guys have it in them, but the mindset and the mentality needs to change, and it needs to be driven home big time.